How you doing, guys? Big Mek Down School here today, back with another video for you. This is a quick update to tell you what I got up to this weekend, and yeah, tell you what fun I had, what a lovely weekend I had. So Saturday I spent a lot of time trying to get ready for this event I had on Sunday, and I managed to do a few hobby things. The main thing was magnetising a Contemptor Dreadnought with Volkite weapons. So I wanted to take a Contemptor with double Volkite to this Horus Heresy event I was going to on Sunday. Just going to drop this bit straight in here. So the event was organised by a Horus Heresy group, Discord group. I think it's just called the Horus Heresy. I don't know what it's called. I'll drop a link in the description below, and I'll put like in capitals the Horus Heresy group that you need. Yes, it was organised by that group, and code Walrus on Instagram and probably other social medias as well. I think he's the main guy running it and behind the group and the drive to get new players involved in the game and all that kind of stuff. A regular gaming club that's going to be meeting up at Patriot Games in Leeds and playing Heresy on Sunday. So I'll try and get more info for you and then drop that into the video somewhere. But here's what I do know. Yeah, so Saturday I spent a lot of time doing hobby stuff. Watched a bit of Miniature Frontiers charity stream, which went fantastically. I actually won something. I'm not sure what I won, but it was a Head of Knights of Slaanesh model, I think. So I'm excited to see what mini I've actually won. But yeah, it was, I think they raised £2,200 in the end for the charity Mind, which is a mental health charity in the UK. They may well operate outside of the UK as well. I'm not entirely sure, but I think they're mainly UK based. So that went fantastically. And I also watched the end of Stranger Things on Saturday night, which I thought it ended fantastically. The show as a whole, it had a few ups and downs for me in terms of keeping my attention going through the 4 seasons of the show. But I think it ended really well. I really enjoyed the last season. It was superb. So then on to Sunday. Let's get to Sunday now. So Sunday morning I met Orky. Let's Make It Orky on Twitch, Instagram, and whatever. I met her and we went for breakfast at a place called Olive and Rye in Leeds, and that was fantastic. Again, lots of fantastic things happened. So I had well, I'll tell you what Orky had first. She had a breakfast bagel with poached eggs, bacon and hash browns, and hers looked really nice, to be fair. I'm not a fan of poached eggs, but these were perfectly poached by the looks of it. And then I had a French toast, which on the menu I think it's, well, this is what it is, it's not just on the menu. It was French toast with roasted maple peaches, Biscoff, I always say Biscoff, for like Eric Bischoff from WCW or WWE. But yeah, Biscoff spread and biscuits. And what else did it have on it? Oh, like cinnamon sugar and stuff like that. It was delicious. It was well nice. It was brioche bread, which is pretty standard for French toast these days. I actually recently picked up from Lidl, because I had a voucher for them, some brioche hot dog rolls, which I'm intending to make French bread hot dog rolls with. French toast rather, French bread. Yeah, so there we go, that's what I had, and it was absolutely delicious. I had a couple of cortados as well, and really nice coffee there as well. So I definitely recommend it. It's in Queen's Arcade, I think, in Leeds. And then we went round to Patriot Games. Well, there was a run on, I think it was a 10k on in Leeds City Centre. So some of the roads were closed. And Orky said, should we just drive to Patriot Games? I was like, I don't know, because like we had trouble getting to parking, somewhere to park near to Olive and Rye, where I wanted to go for breakfast. So yeah, we got back in the car, and then we decided to drive to Patriot Games, a car park nearer to Patriot Games. And inevitably we ran into road closures again, because there's a road closure right near the car park we were parked in, so we were bound to do it. And then we eventually got, about 20 minutes later, we got to Patriot Games, when it was less than a 20-minute walk, so we may as well have just walked. But it doesn't matter anyway, because we got there. Everyone was really welcoming, and a lot of people there are excited to play Heresy. I think there's people there that played the first few editions of Heresy, of Battles in the Age of Darkness, as it was known then. And yeah, newer people to Heresy like myself and Orky, I've always had an interest in it, and I've got loads of Forge World bits for Thousand Suns with the intention of building a Thousand Suns Legion and getting into Heresy. I've had that intention for years, never quite gotten round to it, never quite not pulled the trigger on it. But yeah, this re-release of Heresy and it being one of GW's games that they stock in store, that's spurred me on to get my force together, and I want to get a board together at home as well. Yeah, so I took a Thousand Suns force, had a game of, I think I had 865 points, my opponent had 870. He played Alpha Legion, and he took an apothecary on a bike with 9 bikers in a squad, and he also took 2 squads of headhunters, which are like an elite troops choice. I say elite troops choice. Is it elite or is it troops? They're an Alpha Legion specific troops choice, I think. And he had heavy bolters in both of them squads. I took Araman, Contemptor Dreadnought, double Volkite, Sekhmet Terminators. I just took them with the Achian blades, and 2 squads of 10 legionaries, just like flat 100 points each squad. Yeah, that's what I took. And turn 1, I was really having trouble doing any damage to him. I shot a lot, and then eventually I think I managed to kill one of his headhunters, one of the guys in his headhunters units. I was really disappointed with the shooting of the Volkite in the first turn from the Contemptor Dreadnought. The shooting was good, but I should have done, I forgot it was twin linked. I should have remembered that the weapons are twin linked. But yeah, it didn't do any damage to the bikes because he had the apothecary in there, so it was, they got a feel no pain, and they got to re-roll the feel no pain. I'll have to check that out because I don't know if that's standard or if that's something specific he had. So yeah, I really struggled to do any real damage in the first turn, but then he came back at me. He killed a lot of, I think he killed 6 guys in one of my squads. He shot him with he had old plasmas on his bikes, and he shot the plasmas at one of my squads because he didn't want to waste the shots on the Sekhmet Terminators because they're wearing Cataphractii armor. They get a 4 pinball save. And here's one thing I need to remember in future games of Heresy. I hadn't intended to attach Araman to a squad, but I did always have him within unit coherency of the Sekhmet Terminators. And that's the reason he didn't target Araman, because in 7th edition 40k you could target characters, but if you put them in a squad you couldn't target the characters. So he was assuming they were part of that squad. So then later on in the game, when I wanted to target something with Araman, we had the discussion, because I completely forgotten about attaching and characters attaching to a squad and leaving a squad. So we had the discussion, then I said, oh, I won't shoot at the other guy, because it was like not two lone guys. There was 2 guys left in one of his squads in the 3rd turn, and I wanted to target them with Araman's psychic shooting attack, just to try and get them down to 1 guy. But yeah, anyway, the game went 3 turns in total, and I won after the 3 turns. He conceded. I eventually got rid of the apothecary, and I got rid of more of the bikers, but it was I had to fire a lot into the bikers to get the bikers down. But because he had such an elite force, I had 25, 26, 27 models on the table. He had 15. So because he had such an elite force, he I think struggled when he started losing bodies, especially when he lost the apothecary. That's why he conceded. He was like, my Sekhmet Terminators were about to get into combat with his bikes, and yeah, in terms of objectives for the game, the objectives were to get into your opponent's deployment zone, and you scored 2 points for each unit you had in there or something. I had a unit running free up into the deployment zone, which he couldn't do anything about. He had because he was way down in my deployment zone with all of his remaining units, and they weren't likely to last the rest of the game because he had 5 bikers left and my Sekhmet Terminators were about to get into combat with him. So yeah, it was just one of those things with Araman as well, and Araman's probably going to be decent in combat being a character. Yeah, so it was a good game and a good experience for me, a good learning experience, and I felt like with it being built on essentially 7th edition 40k. I have played 7th edition 40k before, so a lot about this game seems familiar and seems pretty intuitive, I suppose, to me. It's like I've got some memories of 7th edition already stored in my head. There's certain things that my opponent, I asked him to clarify. I can't fire rapid fire weapons and then charge, can I? And he mistakenly thought you could, as long as you didn't shoot them twice, because rapid fire weapons at half range get twice the number of shots, but you can't shoot them at all. So in the first turn I shot, I had 9 bolter shots at one of his units, but I didn't do any damage to that unit, thankfully. And then I tried to charge him as well. I failed to charge, so it doesn't really matter. One thing that I really like as an addition to Heresy is the reactions. I only used the reaction once because I kind of thought they were more complicated than they were. All it is you get a choice of 2 reactions, and you might have some Legion specific reactions, but you get a choice of 2 in the rulebook for the movement phase, for the shooting phase, and for the combat phase. It's really simple, and you just use them. You say, I'm going to use this reaction, and you only get to use 1 per phase. And you might have some rules that Ahriman's got a rule, I think it's in the combat phase, you get to do 2 reactions. It's to do with, like, lore wise, it's to do with his ability for divination, so he can sort of predict the future, see the skeins of fate, and untangle them in much the same way that, like, lore wise, the Eldar do that kind of stuff. He's in the universe, he's like he's got a lot of foresight, but not enough foresight to save his Legion, unfortunately, when it came to the time between Heresy and 40k. So yeah, that was a fantastic day. I think Orky concentrated on meeting people, which she often does, and concentrated on getting to know people, and she was also building a list, busy building a list, because what she does is sensible. She likes to get a list together and then work towards building that bit by bit. So she's built a 1,000-point list that she's going to work towards building. I'll let her tell you about that, though. I don't actually know what's in it apart from 1 character. So I think it's going to have some troops in there, and I know it's got a certain character in there, but she can tell you about that on her stream on Twitter. Good little store, Patriot Games, as well. I managed to find an old Dark Angel Marine for Leech. I asked him if he wanted it, he said yeah, so I picked it up for him. And an old metal one, because I know he's got a good collection of old metal Dark Angels, so I thought he might be interested in it. Yeah, so good little store. I say little store, it's a decent sized store, and they've got a decent amount of gaming space, which is always good, and lots of welcoming people on the day that I went, and involved in this Heresy group that's, I think, going to be meeting there on the regular. So I'll hopefully insert more information for you. Don't forget, if you'd like to help support the channel, you can do so by following some links in the description below. There's one to Patreon, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, all my social medias. And I'll drop a link to the Let's Make It Orky Discord, because in there I'm going to be hopefully doing a roundup video on YouTube once a month of people's Heresy progression, in terms of like what units they've got built and painted, that kind of stuff. Yeah, mainly painted. I want to do like a painted roundup. So hopefully I'll do the first of them by the end of this month, but we'll have to wait and see. If I get a big influx, if we get a big influx in the Discord in the next week or so, I may well do one after a week. But yeah, like I said, we'll leave it there for now, guys. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on the battlefield.